So I just want to make a short demo on using the Git GUI. What I'm using here is actually the user interface, the guided graphic user interface for GitHub. There are several different GUIs out there for Git, but I am using this one in specific. There's one for Windows that is installed on the machines in the classroom, and also this GitHub GUI. So this is the one that we actually want to use, the GitHub one. So I'm already logged in. You can download it and install it, but I'm logged in as it is, and so I want to show you how to make repositories or clone repositories, whatever it is you want to do. After you log in, it will show you here all of the repositories that are created inside of yours, so you can clone a repository right here from this. Also, the thing that you have to remember is down here, it's asking you where do you want to clone it on your desktop. So, for instance, I have this folder that I'm going to put all of my, let me delete this one and we'll do, I'll do this over again. So I'm going to put all of my Git clones inside of this particular folder. So I want to clone my main one that I did for class. So notice there is nothing in here, and I want to clone this particular one that I put in here, and I have to actually point it to the particular folder, and it says the destination already exists, but then I have to have a blank folder inside of that. So I'm going to type Susan's right here at the end. I'm going to go ahead and clone it. So now if you go ahead and open this thing up, I am actually opening up my page. I can work on this just as if it is working on my local desktop. I can point my Dreamweaver to that, save inside of that folder, and it will actually work with those files. Now, recognize that there are several things that you can do here. Just because I kind of make changes here does not mean that I am making changes at to my files on Git. There are different things that you can do. For instance, if I make changes, I can commit those changes. Committing means taking a snapshot that I can actually back up to. I can have multiple commits, you know, make 2 commits a day or something like that, and I can back up to that, but that would only be local. It's a local snapshot. But then I would have to, after making those commits, I can push my things up to Git and make sure that those things are saved. So just because you're working locally, you save your changes, even if you commit your changes, that does not mean that it's been updated up at Git. So let's just go ahead here and let's pretend I'm going to use Dreamweaver on this. I got so much junk in here. Hopefully you're using Atom or something like that, but we're going to use Dreamweaver here. And I can go ahead and I can create a new site, and I can go ahead and point this to that folder on my desktop. Choose that, save, done. I know I'm working off the edges here. And then if I move this, you see that these things are here. So I have these things here. I can go ahead and open this. My mouse is being a little bit stubborn, I guess, because it's probably got so much going on here. bit of lag. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to save this. So this is saved. So now this is saved just locally on my machine. You can see here that it's indicating that these things have changed. So now I can actually go in and I can commit these changes, and that will just even though they're saved, what that would do is that saves a snapshot. Now you don't have to do this every time you save. You would just go in and say change page content, whatever it is. Put a little bit of a description. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to commit this to the master. Your master is your local folder that is here. But remember, just because you've committed it, you have not pushed it up to your Git repository. Your commit is just a little snapshot. So you're just going to work on that every once in a while. So now, as you go into this history, you can actually see a history of every time that you made a commit. Not every save that you've ever done, but every commit that you've ever done. And if you want to ever go back to the behind things here, you can go ahead and back up to that point. You can see it. Now, if you want to actually push these things up, that is a different ball of wax. Okay, so now I have these things here. I'm looking at my history, and so let's say I want to go ahead and I want to push those up so that they're available for me to use or move or track or compare to somebody else's. I would go ahead and I would select my commit that I am interested in pushing up, and I would go ahead and I would push that to the origin. Remember that your local here that you're working on is your master. The thing that is at Git is your origin. So now if I go to my GitHub repository, let me find it here. You can see that my commits, hold on. My commits are going to show up over here. So let me drag this down. So you can see here that I have my change page content. I just put that up. My initial commit. So all of my commits are here. So I can do that. I can back up to these commits if I want. I can pull down, make copies of these commits if I want. Anything I want to do. So let's say you're working somewhere else. The last thing that we're going to be really dealing with is going to be basically syncing, which is going to be, for our purposes, it's going to be fetching your origin. Remember, again, origin is at GitHub. Your master is where you're working right now. So moving from one place to another, if you move and you have your spot cloned in the classroom and at home, you're going to come home, open it up, fetch your origin to make sure anything that you've saved or you pushed up there is going to come down and sync up with what you have here. Now this seems like really simple. You may be thinking, why do I even have to know this? Well, we are only really scratching the surface of what Git can do. As we've discussed in class, it's a really good way for people to work together in groups. It will track differences if people are working on different files, and really it's important for the employers to a skill that the employers want you to have. Now, of course, they're going to want you to be able to do the command line work, but for our purposes, for right now, this is going to work. So let me know if you have any questions.